their mother cry. Old enough to say no lullabies. Always living life in black and white. Find the vision from the colored lights. Spirited, but are you spiritual? Found you look for me, that's a miracle. Then I go make mistakes, that's pitiful. Then I go make mistakes, that's typical. Let me know, let me know. I will go, I will go. All I know. Visions of me in a row. Keep on working, I'm on phone. Close case closed. Easy didn't wanna know. But your girl was at my show. Give me nothing I know. When I got it for the love.
Hi guys, you tuned in to another episode of Shana Mummy's Lips Talk. So on this week's episode, I'm going to get into brains.
Brains are the functionality of pretty much everything that's physical.
So the reason why I want to jump into that topic today is because I feel like as much as every day we all use our brains in a variety of ways, this topic kind of rings home to me because I don't think we use our brain as much as we should do. Now, my acronym this week for that is building resilience against insane, nonsensical scenarios or situations. The reason why I say scenarios or situations is because,
In my opinion, a scenario is the event beforehand and a situation is what you're currently experiencing.
so the reason why I say a scenario is beforehand is because you have several different outcomes of a scenario that you could play through in your mind and figure out how that is actually going to come to pass with your logical thinking as far as you can use your sense.
However, it goes past the scenario and into a situation when you have already maneuvered how you needed to maneuver and gotten to what you call an outcome to a degree.
Because you're now experiencing this as a situation. So when it's a situation, your maneuverability is a lot different to you playing out scenarios because you have the ability to, take certain roads within a scenario in your head, whereas when it's real life and it's a situation happening now, you only have available to you what that situation is allowing or restricting you from being able to move through that situation. So with you having different ways of navigating yourself, the reason why I want to talk on brains is because my first thought of it is,
From school, from very young, we are taught when it comes to our neurological workings that we only use, and I'm going to say apparently, 10% of our brain capability.
the reason why I say that we apparently only use 10% is because I did not go and do any form of neurological degrees to figure out how the neurons all connect and make it so that we have this web of information that swirls around our brain and produces our thinking process. So I can take it from somebody who says they know about brains, but at the same time, we can rely on these people that they call somebody who is well equipped in the knowledge and who's been taught what it is we believe to be the information that is correct on how much of our brain we use. And we can also entrust our own ability
To think for ourselves.
Now, when I say that, we have our senses that let us know if something
Seems right, if something makes sense, if something is not something that we want to get into. But we have all of these, little tugs and pulls and arrows in certain directions that let us know that this is how we're feeling about it.
So when somebody speaks on the amount of brain power that we use, to me, it rings a lot of alarm bells. To think that we are only using 10%. Now, if that is correct, and we only use 10% of our full brain working ability, is that not troubling to you? Does that not strike you as odd? If somebody came out and they didn't have the full working order of certain parts of their body that their body has actually got. They've got their arms and legs and fingers, but they were unable to maneuver them because certain connection was not developed in a certain way. So they're unable to use these certain aspects of them. And they call that disabled. They call it lots of different things when we have something, but it doesn't work how it's meant to function. Now, 10% working order, to me, is critically damaged. In the sense of, you go to a car dealership and the dealer says to you,
well, I have this beautiful car here for you, and it's everything you've asked for as your criteria of things it needs to have for you to be happy to walk away with this today. It's also within your price budget, and I have done everything I can to wiggle the price as much as I can, but literally I can't offer you anything less for this. And I'm not talking about buying a second-hand car. I want you to imagine you're buying a brand new car, and you've got all the specs down pat. You go in and you're about to go and view this car that he's saying is definitely the car you're looking for with everything you need. However, before he hands you the keys for you to go and take a test drive, he then mentions to you that this car's capability can only go up to 33% of its 100% working order. And you look at him, absolutely gobsmacked. Like, this guy has lost his whole mind. He must be crazy. How is he going to tell me that this price that I have to pay for this brand new car and driving it off the lot straight away is going to make my car depreciate by whatever amount that is? I've already got that as an issue, but I want to buy a new car. That's my prerogative. I want to feel special. I want to be the first owner of this said vehicle. I want to feel at one with it. And you look at him and he looks at you.
Yeah, let's get to test driving.
And you're still looking at him with your mouth on the floor. And as he's picking that up for you, because he's a bit worried and concerned as to why your jaw has been on the floor for so long, you look at him like, are you joking? And he's like, no, are we ready to go for this test drive? And you're like, seriously? After everything you've told me about this car being everything I want it to be, and also it's in the price that I can afford, you've now told me that it can only run up to 33%. Why on earth do I want that?
well, to be honest, everything else works to its best 33%, and you can do as much as you can with 33%. It works that good that it's 33% guaranteed to do what it says on the tin. At that point, you've got one of two choices. You can entertain this guy and go for a test drive, take it for a spin, so you can mentally adjust yourself to the idea of what 33% of a brand new car would feel like. Or you could say, me in my right mind is thinking, that don't make no sense. My common sense has kicked into 6th gear and I'm off. That don't sound good to me. I will go find someone who can get me averaging up the 80s and to the 99% guarantee that this car does what it says on the tin. Because I can, deal with the idea of it not being 100%, because, manufacturers make mistakes sometimes, and it's difficult for them to say that this car is going to fulfill every part of what it is that you say is your needs. So you are now packing your stuff up and you're off out of there. And the guy's like,
well, it's your loss, because every car dealership I know around here has got exactly the same offer for you. This is what they're offering everywhere.
With that analogy said, imagine thinking to yourself that you have a brain that can only function up to 10%. You do it a lot of things with that 10%. You're a fantastic, phenomenal person with that 10%. No one's taking that away from you. No one's taking that away from anyone. What I do find troubling is,
what could we do potentially with the other 90%?
because as far as I'm concerned, our old divine mighty source creator would never give us the opportunity to have 100% working capability, but only give us 10.
Unless
Life is like levels, and you need to level up to the capability of 100%. Because just like a battery that charges It starts from dead and it works its way up. So, not like I'm saying that we're brain dead. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the idea is there's obviously something that needs unlocking in our minds, and we need to touch on that. We need to touch on that real quick, because if we can have doctors, nurses, engineers, scientists, all these different types of people that are in the world that put their mind to certain things and are doing the things that we are looking at, like, that is a lot of work. That's a lot of time you spent there. You must be seriously interested in that, to take in all of that information, to retain it, and to constantly use that on a day-to-day basis to do what you do. Now, if those people are able to do that with the 10% that they have, what is it that you're able to do with your 10%? And once you've leveled your 10% to what you call your full capacity, what can you do to level up, to allow your brain to unlock some more levels? Because there's just no way that I can sit within myself and think that we don't have the ability to level up from 10%. Now, on the other hand, we literally could be using a lot more than our brain than they say we're using.
How would you know? How would you know?
Are you a neuroscientist? Do you go and research these things all the time? Do you use equipment to have a look at the brain's functionalities and how it works? Do you do that? Probably not. And if you do, great for you. But just know that as much as you can tell me, as much as you know that your findings have brought you to, doesn't mean that I can't doubt them. It doesn't mean that I can't think to myself that there's more to what you have researched, because not one person can know everything. Because if that was the case,
then there'd be a lot of people that would just peacefully just reside, doing nothing, because there isn't anything else to learn.
Now, people are probably
Thinking, what are you whittling on about?
My point to you is, would you not like to unlock some more levels? Is there not more available to you if you concentrated on asking and seeking the right questions out and answers? Do you not think that if we concentrated on seeking those things out, what on earth we could be capable of with 100% fully charged? Have you ever looked at your phone and it's on like 89% and you're looking at it like,
Should I take it off? It's nearly there. But then you're thinking, I'm going to go on a long journey. I kind of need it to be all the way.
that extra 11% makes a difference? And you just think, calm yourself down, charge it to 100%, and you know you can get the most out of it that it can offer. Now, I want to charge myself up to 100%. Now, if it's possible to unlock that within this lifetime, who knows? But wouldn't you like to try? Wouldn't you like to see what we could, actually put our mind to, finding out some of these things? And if you're prepared to leave your whole life's worth of research in other people's hands to tell you,
Well, this is my findings, and I believe that you cannot unlock any more capability from yourself, even if you tried.
and you're just going to take that as gospel, that's on you. Because at the end of the day, you are as good as the information and the source that you get it from. Now, if you go and source things out yourself, you have an awareness within you that lets you know that, do you know what? Something's a bit fishy about that. Something doesn't sit right with me with that. Or,
Oh my gosh, Eureka, I've got it.
it totally makes sense. You have those moments when you seek things out yourself. So, I say that to say this. People have got a certain idea, not all people, some people, bordering on majority of people, have this idea that if people have gone to university, hired themselves in education, have degrees, masters, and whatever else that qualifies them within the eyes of education, that they have definitely warranted themselves to be seen as somebody to take seriously within that sector. I'm not trying to say don't take people seriously. What I'm trying to say is these people are just as human as
You are.
they use apparently just the same amount of brain capability as
You do.
so that means that you should have the capability to think for yourself, to feel out a situation for yourself. Now, I'm just thinking, if you are looking at somebody as being a doctor, nurse, engineer, scientist of any sort, these people you look up to give you and feed you this information, you take this and think, well, you must know what you're talking about, so I'll follow what you're saying to a T, because who am I to disagree with you? Now, some people that use all of their 10% to dedicate themselves to a profession, to their life's work of whatever that may be, sometimes they lack certain qualities in which you look for within people you would like to say are people you find entertaining, or you find stimulate you, or can keep you happy. These people sometimes spend so much time within their books, within their research, within that drive to go and get what they're striving for, that they forget on the way just a few pointers that I consider as quite important, like not looking at people as statistics, which is a bunch of numbers, because that's what you read in books. You read the different statistics, you read the different measurements of numbers that make it so that you can figure out what percentage of people can, can't, will, won't, should, shouldn't. That's how it works. So sometimes when you're speaking to maybe your doctor or somebody else who are what we call highly educated, you might find sometimes that these people just lack a little bit of empathy when it comes to dealing with you personally as an individual, because that person has not necessarily been taught full on how to cater to you. And I don't mean everyone, because we're all different, but to cater to you and how you receive information and how you emotionally deal with the breakdown of information in which they're trying to serve to you, because they're taught how to deal with people on a whole. So the empathy might not be there, the passion to make you feel comfortable about the situation may not be there, and for them to fully understand where you're coming from may not necessarily be there, because that is not what they've been trained to do. They've been trained to spot the problem, assess it, and to treat it, whatever the scenario is. So I don't know if you found this, but there are some people that I've met, and it doesn't matter if they have got learning difficulties, if they are unable to read the best, spell the best, speak the best, or even put themselves forward to be a public speaker, because those things literally
Terrify the heck out of them.
So these people behind closed doors, if given the time of day, you may find that they have a lot more of what we call common sense, road smarts, people skills, because even though they're not great at certain aspects that people think is basic, they still have within them the capability of communicating with people, making them feel like an actual person. They don't look at you as statistics, because all they've been doing is trying to avoid the idea of people calling them a statistical problem. So I've found a lot of the times people who are not great with a lot of the stuff that people call basic, but yet their intellect, when it comes to communication, when it comes to heartfelt appreciation, or even just showing you what type of energy that they have to give, it's phenomenal. Their common sense is acute. Whereas I've met some doctors and some people who are highly ranked in the business industry, and you look at them and you're very confused.
Why, sir, do you not know how to put together an IKEA flat pack? Why is that? It is pretty much simple. Read the manual. But no, these menial tasks are below them.
And that's not everyone I'm speaking on that are what we call highly educated. It's just certain people that spend a lot of times being a bookworm, and they really passionately focus on certain things. They don't focus on the little finessing aspects of being a human and what makes us feel like somebody emotionally connects with us, that somebody emotionally understands us. So it is important that we use our brains to figure out, if is there any more that we can do with this 10%, that if somebody can be a brain surgeon on this 10% that they apparently use,
what can I do with my 10%?
and if I'm doing the most I can with my 10%,
I want to level up. Don't know about you, but I want to go up on this lift. You can't tell me that the first floor is the only floor to this high rise that I've seen outside. I'm not buying it.
So it's food for thought, people. I want you to definitely recognize, if you've ever met somebody who you think to yourself, somebody would think that you're as, daft as a dodo. But really, when they connect with you and just see how intelligent you are with how you maneuver yourself in life, because the common sense is there. Without the common of the sense, I don't know where a lot of people would be, because how are you that intelligent and you still find yourself with the same problems that us common folk seem to have? That means we're all human. We all have the same type of things that could happen to us. So we can't treat each other differently because of what we think our intelligence scales are compared to somebody else who has been to college or university or whatever form of education you believe to be the highest ranking. Because there are some people that haven't been to any of those places, but if you had given them the correct tools for them to go and now make a business of their own, you probably find a lot of these people would find their own. And it's not because that they are book smart, because that they know how to regurgitate something like a tape recorder, because to a degree you need to be somewhat of a tape recorder. You need to read, collect, and then you need to regurgitate that in the manner that people are happy to say that,
Yep, you've got that down pat. You definitely know how to be a good tape recorder.
and that's not a negative thing. It's a skill. You've mastered that skill, but there's other skills that we need to master as humans so that we can communicate with each other better and we can be connected with each other a lot better. Because if the whole world went to pot tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of people that are very, very rich, but money might not necessarily be the world of tomorrow. How are they going to cope with us commoner gardeners, us normal folk, when they have been achieving what we call way above average for a long time? So how do they take that drop to then be on the same playing field with us and be able to communicate with us, to understand us, to coincide with us, and to navigate harmoniously with us? How would that look as a scenario? Because it's not the situation as of yet, but everything's a scenario until it becomes your situation. So don't knock people who you think are less intelligent because they're not great at certain aspects that you may be good at, because they may just fully kick your ass at something that you're going to find out in the future that you ain't good at. So my advice to you guys is, don't always take what you class as somebody who must know, somebody that you class as being all gospel because they was educated in a way you believe to be more important than the education that you received, hence why you haven't done the research, hence why you haven't gone and looked about why that is. So you can't take other people's word for it, because people are people and we can get things wrong sometimes. So don't get bamboozled by the idea of, well, that person knows more than me, so I need
To bow down and respectfully take everything that they're going to shaft me with. Sorry, I didn't mean to say shaft. That they're going to tell me.
because sometimes you have to think about human error. And from we can all make errors. Don't think that these people can't make errors either. Start using that 10% to its full capacity. And when you believe that that 10% is being met, level it up. Because when you walked into these high-rise, you've seen a skyscraper on the outside. So how dare they tell you that there's only one floor? Keep that in mind, people. And definitely strive for more. Treat the ones that you feel are not as up to the smarts with you, but they may be a lot more empathetic and a lot more caring and a lot more humane than you. Everybody needs to start seeing how we all fit in this equation, because we're all different and we've been made that way on purpose. Let's enjoy our colourful world that we've been put in.
And let's just squeeze as much of the juice out of it as we can.
Because life is for living. Till the next time, guys. We out.
We out.